Birthday party, am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to
No,
any
well,
of them.
is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? I know about them.
Ellen,
Now,
were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have you been to his party?
Any real personal beef with Diddy? But it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
I just struck gold. Joe Rogan just dropped a comment that completely flipped the internet, and this time he's putting Ellen DeGeneres in the hot seat. With all the chaos surrounding Diddy's situation, people are starting to ask the same thing again and again. Why is nobody talking about Ellen? Her name keeps slipping into the conversation and is making folks raise their eyebrows. It's wild because so many people are acting like they don't see the connection. When Diddy got slammed with those serious federal charges, the internet did what it always does. It started digging. Old interviews, throwback clips, random moments that once seemed funny are now being replayed with a totally different vibe. And right in the middle of that storm, there's Ellen.
All right, we're back with Sean Diddy Combs. Is it Diddy today? Because sometimes you're Puffy and sometimes you're Diddy. Or sometimes you're Daddy. What are you today?
I'm so confused today with it, as long as you say it in a nice way.
Fans are resurfacing those clips of Ellen and Diddy on her show, laughing way too comfortably, cracking inside jokes, and getting a little too chill talking about parties. It all seemed harmless back then, but now those moments are being rewatched like hidden clues. People are starting to question if there was more going on behind those smiles. And wait until you hear what Joe Rogan actually said, because it's bold. According to him, there's a reason Ellen isn't getting the same heat as everyone else. She didn't just casually have Diddy on her show once or twice, it was multiple times. Those party conversations weren't just quick throwaways either. They were caught on camera, casual, and now viewers are connecting them to something much bigger. When you really think about it, that silence around Ellen is screaming. It makes people wonder, are we just dealing with bad timing here? Or is this one of those subjects nobody dares to touch? Because things start to look way stranger once you dig a little deeper.
Gonna be a new thing? Are you gonna try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you gonna be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right, not too late though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late, because you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Remember when Ellen's show crashed after that huge toxic workplace scandal? That wasn't just some passing headline. It completely changed how people saw her. Not long after that, Ellen and Portia packed up and moved to the UK, and Ellen publicly linked the move to the political climate. But let's be real, fans didn't buy it as just a lifestyle choice. The timing felt way too perfect, almost like a message. And fair or not, that's exactly how the audience took it. Coincidence? Maybe. But the internet doesn't believe in maybe, and that's why people keep pulling old receipts, trying to figure out what really went down behind the scenes. Now, before diving back into what Joe Rogan actually said, let's rewind for a sec. Why does Ellen even matter in this conversation? It all goes back to when BuzzFeed News dropped that bombshell report about her show. It shattered her Be Kind image overnight. Former staff came forward with heavy stories, claims of racism, intimidation, toxic management, and a culture where people were scared to speak up. It painted a totally different picture than what her show's brand was selling. And what really stuck with the public was that crazy contrast. Ellen built her empire on kindness, but the stories sounded like non-stop pressure and fear.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected.
The backlash got so intense that several top producers were fired, and Ellen herself had to address it publicly. But even after all that, the debate never cooled down. People kept wondering, was it just those producers, or was the whole vibe of the show rotten from the top down? Ellen tried to defend herself by saying she didn't know everything that was going on behind the scenes, but that's exactly where the public split in two. Some people believed her, saying she couldn't possibly know every detail of a huge production, while others weren't buying it at all. Either way, her image took a serious hit, and that America's sweetheart glow faded fast. The show limped on for a while before Ellen finally called it quits, saying it just wasn't challenging anymore. But fans had their own theory. Many thought she was just tired of the backlash, that the trust between her and the audience was gone, and once that's broken, it's almost impossible to get back. Now, let's get into what Joe Rogan actually said, because this is where it gets real. During a heated talk about Diddy on his podcast, Rogan pointed out something wild, how for years, celebs openly joked about Diddy's parties like it was some kind of flex. He brought up names like Ashton Kutcher and others who used to talk about those wild nights like it was bragging rights. And then Rogan dropped the bomb. He said one of the biggest platforms where those party conversations happened on camera was Ellen's show. Rogan's point hit hard. He basically asked, how did all these huge celebrities circle around Diddy's parties for years, talk about him so casually, laugh on camera, and still claim they never saw a thing? Because now, with the serious allegations out there, the picture looks completely different. And the wild part? Those party conversations were never subtle. They were right in everyone's face.
I guess Diddy just kept people at his houses because he's got multiple houses and he's just had freak out part. Look at him. Look at Saucy sat down and go, Saucy.
Yeah. No, Saucy's crazy. Have you seen Saucy?
There's one clip from a 2018 interview that fans keep replaying nonstop. In it, Diddy tells Ellen he always invites her to his parties, but she never shows up. Then he teases that his parties start early, but the real party begins after midnight, up on the top floors. And Ellen's reaction? She laughs in that knowing way, like she already gets the reference. That tiny moment has become a huge talking point, and people can't stop analyzing it. Rogan said that moment is exactly why things don't add up. If Ellen was part of that same conversation loop, why is her name barely being mentioned in the mainstream story? It's suspicious, especially since Ellen had Diddy on her show multiple times, and that whole party talk wasn't just a one-time joke. It was a recurring thing that always seemed to hit a little too close to home. Then the internet went full detective mode. People started digging up old clips, like that 2002 moment on Conan O'Brien where Diddy joked about needing locks on the doors at his parties. Back then, everyone laughed it off as wild humor, but now, when people re-watch it, it doesn't sound like a joke anymore. It feels more like eerie foreshadowing, and that's got folks questioning everything. Once those clips started spreading again, the conversation shifted fast. People began asking, what did Ellen know, if anything, and why is she staying so quiet? Fans even brought back an old 2016 tweet where Ellen jokingly called Diddy cuddle snuggle stuff, and now that tweet's being looked at under a whole new light, and it didn't stop there. Some viral moments showed Ellen getting approached with unexpected questions, and her reactions had everyone talking. Some viewers said her body language looked uneasy, while others defended her, saying anyone would look that way when caught off guard. But either way, those moments only fueled the fire even more.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really, that early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then No, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, Rogan kept his point simple. Too many people were in that same circle for too long, and it's strange how only certain names are getting dragged, while others, like Ellen, stay out of the spotlight. If you're close enough to have Diddy on your show over and over again, crack jokes about his party scene on national TV, and react like you know exactly what that means, then yeah, people are gonna expect you to say something when things take a serious turn. Staying silent now just makes it look even more suspicious, and that's exactly what Joe Rogan was calling out. Ellen's quiet, and so are a lot of other big names. And Rogan says that kind of silence isn't just strange, it's calculated. But here's where it gets deeper. Remember that whole workplace scandal from a few years back? Former staff from Ellen's show described an environment where people were straight up scared to speak up. And when commenters online compare that type of fear and power dynamic to what might happen in other celebrity circles, it starts to sound way too familiar. Now, to be clear, nobody's saying Ellen did anything criminal, but it does explain why people keep drawing those comparisons. It's about influence, fear, and silence. The same 3 things that seem to repeat themselves whenever these stories pop up. There are also those behind-the-scenes stories that fans still bring up, like the so-called Ellen gaze, where a former crew member claimed the set always felt tense, or the rumors about certain guests being quietly kept off the show after personal disagreements. Whether every little detail is true or not, the pattern people keep pointing out stays the same, and that's exactly why this conversation just won't fade away. Control, pressure, silence, those three words keep popping up, and once the public starts spotting a pattern like that, they don't just watch the old clips, they reinterpret them. Suddenly, moments that once looked polished and harmless start hitting completely different. And there's one moment fans always bring up as the sharpest contrast. It perfectly shows how someone's public stance can sound squeaky clean right before their own image starts to crumble. Back in 2009, after Chris Brown was accused of hitting Rihanna, Ellen put Diddy in a tough spot on her show. She straight up questioned why Chris Brown was allowed to stay at Diddy's house after everything that happened. Ellen sounded firm, like she was taking a powerful stand against domestic violence, saying she never wanted any woman to think it was okay to go back to a guy who hit her. It was bold, emotional, and people praised her for speaking up.
Just, you know, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah.
you know.
But fast forward years later, and the story flips. When the workplace allegations about Ellen's own show surfaced, former staff described toxic behavior and an atmosphere that made people feel emotionally drained and scared to speak out. And that's exactly why so many people started calling it hypocrisy. Not because it proves anything criminal, but because that contrast is hard to miss. One moment she's championing women's safety, and the next, her own team is describing a work culture that feels the total opposite. Then, to top it all off, reports came out that Ellen and Portia sold their Montecito mansion and quietly moved to rural England, once again tying the move to the political climate. To fans, that timing didn't feel random. It looked like another chapter in a story that just keeps getting more complicated. A lot of viewers didn't waste a second. They took the timing of Ellen's move and immediately tied it into the Diddy conversation. While his legal troubles were blowing up across every headline, the internet had its eyes peeled, watching closely to see which celebs spoke up and which ones stayed silent.
I do feel like you may not do that. You're neat though, right? I would imagine your closet is color coordinated. Everything is hung in a certain,
Yes.
right? So you're neat. It's just that you're not the person that puts it back. All right.
And that's what things started spiraling even deeper, because when people online can't find answers, they start filling in the blanks themselves. Before long, wild rumors started flying around. Some claiming that Ellen had an arrest warrant connected to her former DJ, Stephen Twitch Boss, who tragically passed away in late 2022. There were even claims that some kind of mysterious recording had been played in court. But here's the thing, fact checkers stepped in and completely shut that story down as false. Still, the shocking part wasn't the rumor itself, but how fast it spread. People didn't stop to ask, is this true? They jumped straight to, does this fit the story? And because Ellen's public image was already hanging by a thread, her name turned into a magnet for anything dark or scandalous that fit the Hollywood secrets narrative. That's the danger of this kind of conversation. A rumor can move faster than the truth, and once people start connecting dots that don't even belong together, it's almost impossible to stop the snowball. But here's the twist. While the wild stories may be fake, the distrust fueling them is totally real. That's why the internet keeps resurrecting these rumors no matter how many times they're debunked. Even Ellen herself acknowledged it in her Netflix special, For Your Approval, where she joked about being pushed out of Hollywood and admitted that the "Be Kind Girl Wasn't Kind" headline basically became her identity. It was part comedy, part confession, and fans couldn't tell if she was laughing it off or finally owning the fallout.
Diddy party, but there's a camera that swings around and they go, hey, yo, oh, Odell Beckham, and you see Justin Bieber's head come up from his crotch, and he looks in the camera and he's very confused. It's a really disturbing video.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You know, you couldn't even get in his parties. And he was throwing a party, and he said, yo, Playboy, this party's $1.5 million. I said, for what? I mean, what are you saying? It costs $1.5 million to throw this party. I said, Puff, I love it. The party's amazing. Yes, the mayor is here and everything. I said, but that's too much. What? I said, you come to my place in LA? I'll throw you a party for $400. That will rival this party. And he got a little mad. He was like, yo, no, I'm known for this shit. Don't front.
What caught people's attention in Ellen's Netflix special wasn't even the joke, it was her tone. The way she spoke about ego, exposure, and how the hate always seems louder than the love had people listening closely. She said, there are such extremes in this business. People either love you and idolize you, or they hate you, and those people somehow allowed her. That line hit hard, but not for the reasons she might have hoped. A lot of viewers didn't hear that as real accountability. They heard it as deflection, like Ellen was still working through the backlash rather than fully owning what happened. The vibe wasn't, "I get it now." It was more like, "It's been hard for me," and that didn't sit right with everyone. Then things took a wild turn when another viral clip surfaced, this time involving Aaron Rodgers. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast and actually compared Ellen's old talk show set to Epstein Island, saying the architecture looked weirdly similar. Rogan instantly shut that down, saying it just looked like a standard LA building and that people were reaching way too far. But the fact that the comparison even came up shows just how messy Ellen's reputation has become. People online have started placing her name on the same conspiracy charts they use for some of the darkest figures in pop culture. Not because there's proof, but because the internet loves a story that feels cinematic and scandalous. That's where things stand now. It's not just about facts anymore. It's about perception, patterns, and the story people want to believe. So what's everyone actually saying about all this? Let's dive into the reactions and pay attention to the pattern, not just the noise. Is that a building in LA? That might be a building in LA. That quick exchange from Rogan's show became a whole moment online. But what came after was even wilder. Some people jumped straight into conspiracy mode, saying Ellen knew everything and ran off to England while Diddy's caught up in a federal case. Others defended Rogan, claiming he's just the only one bold enough to say what everyone else is thinking. They started asking the same burning question: why do certain names get dragged through the mud while others seem to get a softer edit?
This leads me to the perfect thing, because I would like you to clear something up. There's a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together.
And it's my house. And I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be there for a favor.
Then came the body language breakdowns, clips of Ellen avoiding tough questions or brushing them off, with people calling her expressions guilty looking. Again, that's not hard proof, it's perception. But perception is the gasoline that keeps these online debates burning. In the comment sections, you can see the same pattern pop up over and over. Toxic workplace headlines, a half-hearted apology that people never accepted, that sudden move overseas the fans still think was a sign, and now the Diddy talk getting louder, all stitched together like one continuous story. That's the engine driving this whole saga. People feel like Ellen never really faced real consequences, so they hunting for a bigger explanation. And remember that question from the start: why does it feel like nobody wants to bring up Ellen in this Diddy discussion? Here's where a lot of people land on it. They think she's still being handled differently. Not in any official way, not in court, but in a she's Ellen DeGeneres kind of way. Connections, money, relationships, influence, things that let her control how her story is told even after stepping away from TV. But what's shifting now is the platform. People like Joe Rogan don't play by those polished Hollywood rules anymore. They're not giving verdicts, they're asking the uncomfortable questions out loud. And that's exactly why this conversation refuses to fade away.
All right, well, let me catch up on what's been going on with me since you saw me last. I decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else I can tell you about that. It's been going on. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show.
Now that the conversation's exploded, things are getting tense. Every new clip, every tweet, every interview with Ellen gets dissected like it's evidence in some massive Hollywood mystery. And people aren't just debating whether she's guilty of anything, they're asking what her silence means. Because when the internet decides someone's story isn't finished, it keeps rewriting it for them. Recently, fans have been tracking Ellen's few public appearances since moving overseas, pointing out how different she looks, calmer, quieter, and way more private. Some say it's growth, others say it's guilt. There's even talk that she's trying to rebrand herself quietly, staying away from the spotlight while letting the noise fade out on its own. But every time something connected to Diddy trends, Ellen's name sneaks back into the mix, like the story just won't let her go. Meanwhile, Rogan keeps poking at the bigger question: why do certain Hollywood figures always seem untouchable? He's not making accusations, but he's forcing people to think about influence, silence, and the way fame protects his own. And that's what's really making this story explode. Because once people believe there's a system that shields some and exposes others, they start questioning everything. The craziest part? The more Ellen stays quiet, the more people fill in the blanks for her. Every joke she's ever made, every moment from her show, every awkward pause, it's all being rewatched with suspicion. It's like the internet turned her legacy into a puzzle and decided it already knows what the picture looks like. At this point, it's not even about Ellen or Diddy alone. It's about what they represent, power, image, and how quickly the public flips when the vibe shifts. And until someone actually steps up and clears the air, the speculation's only gonna get louder, the edits slicker, and the internet theories way wilder.
Look at that, the temple, and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What? Oh, similar. That looks like a building, though. Like
sure.
Yeah. Is that a building in LA? That might be a building in LA.
And once a massive platform like Rogan starts treating something as a legit question, the audience takes it and runs wild with it. The real controversy here isn't Ellen is worse than Diddy. That's a reckless jump nobody should make. The real question is deeper. Why do some names get grilled non-stop while others seem to get a softer pass? Even when the clips are out there, the quotes are real, and the optics look messy as ever. That's exactly why this story keeps spinning in circles. The Diddy headlines didn't just spark new debates, they triggered a full rewind. Old interviews got replayed, old jokes got reinterpreted, and suddenly, people stopped watching for laughs. They started watching for patterns. Every smirk, every comment, every so-called harmless moment from years ago is now being seen through a whole new lens. So what's next for Ellen? Most likely, a quiet life away from the spotlight. Unless someone comes forward with hard, verifiable evidence, something real, not rumors or internet theories. Ellen's name probably won't be tied to anything illegal. Instead, she'll likely be remembered for that toxic workplace fallout and the chilly reputation that followed her career's final act. As for Diddy, his legal storm is far from over. There are appeals, filings, civil suits, and a non-stop echo online that keeps pulling in more names, some connected, some not. It's like the story refuses to stop growing, dragging new faces into the chaos every week. So now the question's on you. What do you think? Do you believe Ellen knew more than she ever let on? Or is this just the internet doing what it always does, turning old clips into a fresh scandal? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. And if you want more wild breakdowns of celebrity drama that mainstream media barely touches, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive.